Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Vention, where people find passions and passions find people. I am here with a Wyatt, who is talking about cinematography, animation, and the amazing world of Unreal Engine. And with that, let's get animating.
My guy, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Monday was Labor Day.
Monday was a holiday. We wouldn't be working. Just kidding. We were.
What did you do Labor Day?
I did more 3D animation stuff and spent the whole day waiting for my asset pack to open.
Nice.
Nice.
So, like, I know assets and rendering and stuff takes like a really long time.
Yeah, it does. It wasn't even like rendering. It was just getting all like the assets I'm going to be using for my first 3D world opened. Because I downloaded like this huge project file from Megascans. It was like this like medieval like environment. It was like a whole map. And like you can just take stuff out of it and like put it in your world. So like just getting that whole thing like downloaded and opening it probably took like over 15 hours. So
yeah, I love Megascans, but it does take quite a while to render and stuff like that. I mean anything does, but especially with our potatoes.
Yeah, I'm doing it on a laptop, so.
Yeah. So explain what, okay, before we explain what Megascan is, let's go back and talk about Unreal Engine.
Okay, yes, Unreal Engine. So I first started getting into like Unreal Engine when it was back in like earlier this summer. And I was just kind of like struggling thinking about going into my senior year. I was like, dang, like I feel like I haven't really learned a whole lot. And like there's so many other kids in my class that are like, I feel like they're just leagues ahead in terms of like actual skill with like the camera and creating content.
And your major is cinematography.
Yeah. So I was like, dang, I need to like figure something out. I'm going to my senior year. I can't just like graduate and like not have any skills to show for it. So like I talked to my dad about it, and like he's not really in the picture, but he knows a lot about like that industry. So like I just kind of asked him for advice, like for the blue moon that I talked to him, and he was like, dude, you should learn how to code, do Unreal Engine, and then there's like this other app that I totally forgot about, but I tried doing coding first, and that was really boring. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do the fun one first. And I actually started doing Unreal Engine, and I went through like your first hour in Unreal Engine, like right when you download the software. So that was a lot of fun, and then got through like that entire section. And now I'm like I'm following this YouTube tutorial to create my first like 3D world. And it's for Unreal Engine 5, which I feel like is way more exciting to work on because it's like early access. It's like the latest tech, and it's been such a blast to do that, and I'm almost done with it. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
So Unreal Engine is basically a software. It's a free software.
Yeah.
Where people develop games, and more recently, short films, videography is on there, cinematography. Like it's perfect for just like compiling assets and putting it together to create, and assets are just like online, virtual resources, like a car or a person or buildings or anything random. Those are assets. And basically, you can compile assets very easily in Unreal Engine. For being a free software, it's amazing what people have done. And back on when I did the strangers interview when I had you on, I told you about Ian
Hubert.
Yeah, Ian Hubert. And he recently created a multi-year, like several year project. He completed it called Vertigo, I believe it was called, or Dynamo.
Yep, it was Dynamo.
Yep. It's called Dynamo, and is completely with some green screening of his wife. He completely created an entire world, an entire short film animation using only Unreal Engine, which is a free software. All you have to do is put time into it. And what's really cool about what he did is he would do like minute-long segments or like 2 minute long segments of like quick little tutorials. And I just think it's so cool that like all these little tiny concepts, if you learn one thing at a time, it's not quite as daunting. And in the end result, it's like as good, if not better than a movie, just by one guy. One guy made the whole thing. So like, you took a little bit of inspiration just from that. But before then, I think it's really cool that you're not in the realm of animation.
Yeah.
And yet you're jumping into it because of your cinematography background.
Which is like so funny because like I first started like college with a 3D animation major.
Oh, really?
And I did take a semester on 3D animation, but they were like, we're going to teach you how to draw a circle. And like, we're gonna teach you how to draw a square. Yep. It was, I was like, this is not fun.
Give your cube character.
Yeah. But less fun. There's no names. It was just a cube. And you're graded on how well you drew a cube. And I was like, this is really lame. And then I switched over to like Christian studies, like got baptized and stuff. And then I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do preaching for the rest of my life. I want to do what I want to do. And then it was like complicated because I wanted like share a good story and like share like some of the things that I've like learned throughout my life. And I switched over to cinematography with a minor in philosophy as like kind of like the next step of that. And now like going into my senior year, I'm like bringing up like that 3D animation, but I'm doing it myself because I was like, I can learn everything I need to learn or everything that I could have been taught here at the university just through YouTube. And I'm like actually like going through with that and being like, okay, well, let's see how far I can go with just like as much free tutorials and free materials as possible.
Which is super far nowadays with even just free. YouTube alone, like regardless of anything else, YouTube alone will get you so far. Like you could, like what you're doing is you can make full on major productions strictly off of just that. I'm not sure if it's Unreal Engine, but there was a guy that did a solo animation. I think it was Unreal Engine, but he made his own animation, much like Dynamo, except it was completely CGI. There was no green screen, and it was based off of Warhammer. I'll send you a link, but it's absolutely mind-boggling how like amazing it is. Like sound effects, music, literally little tiny scratchy details, but it's so cool. Like just the fact that like somebody can come out with something that guy's hands down could be better than a movie and like is better than like 90% of all cinematics in video games.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's unreal. It's unreal how like one person could do it. But like now that things keep evolving, and like you said that you get the fifth one, like now that things are evolving, they're becoming more streamlined, more easy for indie developers to just create their own individual passion project of just their own.
It's insane how much is like I've only been doing it for like a couple months, and even that I try and be consistent of it, but like I lost motivation. Like I had work to do, like other stuff going on in my life. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going like to the wall with it. But even like with the amount that I have been able to put into it, like I've already created so much and it was all for free.
I know.
It's literally insane. It's like literally like just type it in and then like, boom, you can make a world just like that. It's insane. And
like when people look at that kind of stuff, it like looks very daunting, which it very well could be if you wanted to go the long route. But with Unreal Engine and Megascans, like if you wanted to sit down and 3D model every single thing customized to perfection, it will take an eternity.
Yep.
But with Megascans is a software that's built into or collaborates with Unreal Engine, where it basically, you can scroll through hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of assets. Literally, you can type in cyberpunk and it will come up with hundreds and hundreds of different cyber. Like literally, it will have like a median.
Yeah.
Like the concrete medians.
Yeah.
It will be like have like a spray paint decal.
Yeah.
If you want. And then it'll be like a little bit cracked in the middle
And like all
and
those
kind of
things
like
are
turned on
customizable
its
too.
side.
You can customize all
I
those
know.
things too. It's not like here is a like a spray painted 3D asset. It's
Yeah.
like no, it's a material. It's like a mesh that you like can go through and change the parameters. Like, oh, I don't want cracks on this. You can turn that off. You don't
Yeah,
want the
yeah.
spray paint. You can turn that off. You want to change the color and the font or what it looks like. There's an option for that. It's already built in. It's all coded. It's like right there laid out, and you go into the blueprints, which is like Unreal's version of like visual coding. You can go in there and it's like, oh, this is the color, this is the text, this is like the actual like textures, like this is the meshes, and like it's all laid out right there. It's so simple, black and white. It's just,
which to me, the coding part looked to be the most daunting part.
yeah, it is.
Because me, very like artistic and stuff. I like the placement and the configuration of everything. But yeah, like how you can customize everything. They even have like they'll have an artist compile a giant scenery, like the one that I was talking about, Cyberpunk Town or City, Cyberpunk City. And it literally was just like a snapshot of like a city that they built in like this futuristic kind of dystopian kind of world. And they took all of those assets and just put them in a giant list. So if you literally like downloaded every single asset and just put it in, you could just create the same exact replica, just rearrange it slightly.
Yeah.
And so it was so cool that like literally it's just it literally is drag and drop, which is super cool. And like the realm where I saw that I thought I would be using it most likely, because the animation and stuff like that would take quite a bit of time to learn, which I would still totally love to do it. What I found is people would use Megascans, drop it in, and then just articulate the camera, and then just take snapshots and then Photoshop paint. They would paint in Photoshop their lighting, their all that stuff. But literally you can get it almost to perfection in that world, and then they just Photoshop a few extra stuff and then it looks amazing. And what's stupid is that like artists, like 2D animating artists, will spend like tens of hours drawing it from this angle, drawing it from that angle, drawing it like 5 different angles. And then somebody like literally drags and drops Megascans, throws in some fog, and then just goes picture, 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 picture from every angle they want.
30 minutes.
In 30 minutes. And you're like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is stupid. But I mean, it's like an amazing tool. Like, it's something like that I don't think 2D artists should overlook either.
Yeah, especially because like you can build everything with like 3D assets, and then you can add like your own stylized touch on top of it. Like you can layer it on there. I mean, obviously, like I haven't fiddled with that yet, but it's definitely possible. I've seen like things like as I was browsing through different tutorials on YouTube, it was like how to do like a 2D animation with Unreal, or like converting 3D to 2D. Like it's totally possible.
Yeah.
It lets you paint with like really broad strokes, and then you can go through like the large details, like the landscaping, or then you can go through the medium details, like the buildings and like populating it a little bit. And then you can go with the super tiny details, which is like where things get like really fantastic. And then even then you can take it further with like After Effects, and you can just keep going. And it just, Unreal like enables you to get like the bulk of it and to get your imagination onto the screen, and then lets you like work from there. It makes all the like the foundation work easy. So it lets you like focus more on like being creative.
Yeah. And like what's so cool is that you can create like this amazing cinematic world, and then you just press play, and then it suddenly drops in like a 3D rendered third person perspective dude that you could just run around like as if you're just playing a video game.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
really
let me just like walk around here, and you're like,
And it's so smooth too, because like you can change like render settings, like how pretty you want it to be. Like I'm doing it all on my laptop, and it's still possible to like have this crazy like animated game world, and like be able to like just hit play and then play around in that world as if you were playing like the actual game, like within seconds. Like you don't have to like export it to anything and then like launch it and then go through all the troubleshooting to like go through and see how it looks. You just move your cursor up a few inches, hit play, and then it lets you go. And it's so optimized. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's literally at the very beginning, like as you load a world, it'll ask you game, film, this or that, so that it literally is so optimized to you. Because the one thing that Adobe products, I believe, intentionally do is they don't optimize it enough because they require tutorials, people going through. What's that? Because Adobe, like, I'm sure makes bank off of tutorials, all of those things. Because, like, granted, like, the more tools, the better, it seems. But it doesn't, it's not, like, so streamlined. It's just, like, there's a steep learning curve. But as far as Unreal Engine, there's, like, an even steeper learning curve. But it's so much easier. It's so much beginner friendly.
Yeah. And like with Adobe, you can spend like an eternity like trying to learn everything and specialize in like, oh, I want to do green screening. I'll follow like 3 tutorials for that. And then like you like try and like put everything together, and then you'll like butt heads with something that you didn't see in the tutorial. Like this error pops up in like the top left of the screen, or like you do all the things, you follow the tutorial, you do what you want to put in there, you put your own creative twist on it. Like, oh, I want to put this in there. I don't want to put what the tutorial goes over in there. And then you run into an error, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, now what? And then you go to Google, you spend like another 3 hours on the
scrolling through forums.
Yeah. And then it just makes it like the whole process just not fun.
And one guy had the same problem, but it was back in 2013.
Yep. And then I think I'm switching off of Adobe. Like I was literally talking about it with my professors like today for my first day of classes. We were talking about like production workflow. And I went up to my professor and I was like, I know we're supposed to talk about our workflow, but I'm literally switching from Adobe and don't technically have one right now. What do I do? So that was a lot of fun. So maybe DaVinci. I'm still like exploring options right now.
And DaVinci is a competitor to Premiere Pro, which is an Adobe product. Like you could either spend a boatload of money, or DaVinci is free.
Yep, free.
Unity, DaVinci, both powerhouses, but are both very much with no price.
Sorry. Yeah, you're totally good, dude. See you later, buddy. Yeah, like DaVinci's like got the free basic one, but then like Adobe's like, it's just like you spend so much money and you don't like, it's just not fun to use it. Like Adobe's not a fun software to use. Like even if you know how to,
it gets fun when you're really, really good at it.
Yeah, but then you run in, it takes so long to get there.
Yeah,
that like
it's a steep learning curve.
It's like being a doctor is fun once you're a doctor, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why so many kids just played Microsoft Paint for so long.
Yeah,
because it was just like on the computer, and it was just like there was no learning curve. That's literally like the lowest of the low of learning curves. Mm-hmm. It's just like you get on, you just do it. Mm. And granted, doesn't produce anything good, but yeah, it's that enjoyability, which was kind of lacking in Adobe products. Granted, it's like professional level stuff, but DaVinci's getting pretty competitive.
Yeah, it's good. Like the Adobe software is very robust. Do not get me wrong. It is very robust, very powerful software. But it's like, as an artist, you should be enjoying your work. You shouldn't be like dredging up like, oh, I have to dredge up motivation to go like edit my file.
Yeah, it's
just
like daunting.
Having all this like raw footage that you don't want to edit because that part is so not fun. But like with going with Unreal, it's so much fun. Like I wake up in the morning and I get up like a few hours before class just to get a little bit more done on my tutorial. Like it's so much fun because every time you get into it, you see the changes. You see like, oh, I made that. And then you go out through the rest of the day like, I just made a city and right before I like got coffee this morning, you'd be like, what's up guys? Good morning. I already built a city on my computer. Like something cool like that. Like it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I'm just getting all giddy about it. Like after the podcast is over, I'm going to go and finish my project now that's done rendering. I'm so excited. But like, if you're like, hey, let's go edit a video with Adobe, I'd be like, can we do that tomorrow? So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally do. I feel your pain. But yeah, that's like the beauty of Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's so diverse. Like and like the game, like how when you load it up, it asks you game, film, etc. If you press game, it will literally ask you, oh, is this a racing game? Is this a 2D platformer game? Is it a 3D game? Is it first person shooter game? And you literally click it and it already like uploads like a ton of basics for you.
Yeah.
So that like immediately you're like, oh, this is a racing game. You don't need any of that stuff. That's all junk. We'll put it far away so that you can't, so that you'll have to look for it to get it. Like all the other stuff. And so they're like, oh, so you just need this for now. And then they give you all that you just need immediately.
Yeah. And what I found really like hindered me in the beginning was just like how much content that Unreal has. It has so much content that it's like, I was like, dang, I'll never be able to figure out how to do all this. But you just kind of like follow along with a tutorial. Like that's what I did. It was like, it's a 5-hour tutorial. It's how to build a really beautiful 3D world, start to finish. Like literally start like, here, let's open Unreal Engine 5 for the first time. And then 5 hours later, you have this amazing, beautiful world. And now you know how to do it yourself. You can do it all by yourself. And it's literally that simple. It's not like jam-packed, like here have like a to-do list and you gotta like take notes the whole time and reference them if you want to go back and like redo something. It's like, no, it's not that simple. Just have someone that knows what they're doing, like guide you through it. And then once you build that first 3D world, like I'm going back through all these other settings, like all this content that's in there that used to intimidate me. And again, only been doing it for a couple months. And I'm looking at like, oh, I can go build a city right now. I feel pretty confident. And I'm like going through the YouTube tutorials, like how to do a beach in 15 minutes or like 1 minute to make a beach. I'm like, oh, I could totally do that right now. Like I know how to do it. I know their secret. And then like with, there was another one that was like, beautiful Nordic clip tutorial. We can do it in 30 minutes. I'm like, I know which asset that is. I saw that one in the tutorial. So it's just like, it like switches something. Like once you're done with like just getting one project done, getting that first project done, it just like expands your mind to like, well, if I can do this, I can do so much more. And then that lets you like broaden your scopes into like, I want to work on the fine details, or like, I want to do my own asset scanning. Like I want to go take pictures of like buildings and stuff, or like, and then create my own textures and, you know, then build it that way. But you don't have to. You can also go into like keyframing and using virtual cameras, which is something that I'm really interested in because I want to take that 3D world I'm working on and I want to use that 3D world that I'm using from that specific tutorial, finish that one, go to another tutorial about keyframing, and then use that world in like combination with a bunch of other YouTube tutorials and see like what I can make with nothing but just YouTube tutorials and this free engine.
Yeah, and you can go really far with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, like you were saying, how you don't have to scan a full building, but later on you could. That's what's really cool about it, is that like because it's artist creator friendly, because you can just create and have fun and sandbox and just go crazy with it and just enjoy the learning process. Yeah, like the disconnect with Adobe is the enjoying of the learning process. And then later on, you're open-minded to, wow, I could do this. Or I could just keep doing it my own way. And then once you're really, really good at your own way, then you're like, I can add this to my arsenal, this art to my arsenal. And like you can create heavy hitter, like fun, amazing content and just like an awesome time just with mega scans, just with simple, easy, free, like just a little bit of time. And like how it's so cool that people will play a video game that millions of people, like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are playing at the exact same time, and they'll spend upwards of like $80 just for the game to start it, to get in, and then just be like, this is so cool. But how amazing it would be within 5 hours have your very own world.
Yep.
And just be like, I did that. And then the next time it wouldn't take 5 hours. It would take less than that. And you could just have so much fun with just like getting in and being like, you know what? I can do that. That'd be legit.
You know what's like really fun is like when I actually combine it with my cinema stuff that I have been studying, because I was taking what was it called? It was like a pre-production course on like cinema. Like it's like pre-production, whatever. That was like the most intimidating, daunting course I've ever done, because like I even like bought this book about pre-production. The book is like this thick of everything that needs to go into like an hour shoot. Like there's like forms for like if you have a dog in your film. Like if there's a dog in the film, there needs to be paperwork for it. Or if like you want to use like a certain section of a building, you have to get registration for that. You need to get a license to use that in your film. And like there's no such thing as like rogue filmmaking. Like you can go out there and make cool stuff, but like actual like full on productions, they have so much paperwork involved. It was so intimidating. I was like, dude, there's no way I can make like a Maze Runner kind of movie by myself. That would be so hard and so much money and so much time.
Yeah.
Like it's literally impossible. I would have to like just to do it by myself. I mean, like I'm sure I mean anything is possible, but still, like it would just take an absolute monumental amount of effort to do that. But versus like Unreal Engine, I can do it in like, oh, I want to make a Maze Runner type of like scene. I can do that in 2 hours, and then green screen some stuff in, and then it won't be exactly like Maze Runner because that's like a full production, but like it'll be pretty freaking close and be like, it got you there. Let's do it again.
I heard, I'm pretty sure it was Tokyo Drift. Just like a fun thing. I heard that in Tokyo Drift, Japan actually did not let them drift the famous corner where it's like the cross streets where everybody walks across. It's the famous corner street in Japan, and they did not give Tokyo Drift the right to film there, but they did it anyways. And they had one of their like assistants claim to be the producer of the film so that he would get put in jail for a day, because as like a slap on the wrist for filming in a location that they weren't supposed to. So that was them like getting around, like, we're gonna film here because we have to. And but that's the thing, it's like there's millions of paperwork, so much stuff to do, so many like just imagine like all of these like simple looking desert shots will have behind the camera massive tents, air conditioned tents that they spent like tens of thousands of dollars putting up, with all of the trailers, everybody's trailers, food prepared for like over 100 people.
Also like bathrooms, water, transportation, salaries. Like how many hours does it take for them to get there? Who's going to get them? Are they going to use their own cars? Are they going to use their own gas?
And how long does it take to create a desert shot on Unreal Engine?
I could probably do one. Like even with my skill set, I could probably build a desert and get a shot done in maybe like a couple days. Maybe like, let's say 5 days, because I don't know what I'm doing. But still.
But to make a desert, how long would that take?
Probably like, let's see, like 3 hours. 3 hours for like a high quality.
Massive desert. It's like 3 hours compared to tens of thousands of dollars.
Probably like 30 days. Maybe less, maybe like 15 days to get like a full like desert scene done. Cause you gotta, there's a lot that goes into pre-production, and it's daunting. I'll just say it's daunting.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why you need like the multi-million-dollar deals type of thing, just to do something even remotely simple. I saw like a really high production movie, and yet they put like this little tiny box car made out of plywood and a camera on a train track. And it was pretending to be a train, like a guy in a train, but it was literally a guy inside like a little tiny plywood box that they decorated the inside of the plywood box. And they had the camera like sitting there looking at it. And it was like a high quality, like big production movie, but they like scrapped it like to the cheapest thing they could possibly do just for ease, because I'm sure it was like a 10 seconds of the shot or something like that. But it's just funny that
You know what's crazy? Like, you know the movie Space Buddies?
no. Is it like the huge helmet?
No.
Or
It's
no,
it's literally like a kids movie about like 4 golden retrievers going to space.
Oh, that Space
Yeah,
Buddies.
Space
Yeah.
Buddies. Do you know the budget was for that movie?
40 million.
No, it was 9 million, but still, $9 million for that movie. That's $9 million. Like, just
But it made how much?
yeah,
Probably a lot.
I think a decent amount, but still, like, cause like it was just like a joke that I made for one of my classes. Like, what's your favorite movie? And I was like, Space Buddies. And then he like actually, he actually went up and like typed it into Google, and we all looked at it.
Oh,
and stuff. It
no.
was great. And then everyone was like, "Is that really your favorite movie?" And I was like, "No, Blade Runner is my favorite movie." But yeah, it was a good time. But I just still, you need $9 million to make Space Buddies. That's the point of what I'm trying to say.
So Dynamo was really cool
Yes, Dynamo was really cool.
because Blade Runner-esque.
Yes. How did you know? Blade Runner is my favorite movie, and then like seeing Dynamo, especially like all the like virtual reality thing, like that guy that's sitting underneath the bridge with like the mask on.
Fishing?
Yeah, the fishing guy.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm talking about. So
Yeah. And I think that's a tutorial as well. Basically, like he took a bunch of like tutorial stuff and just Mod Podged it. As he was creating this giant several year project, he would just take a tiny snippet out and just be like, hey, everybody, this is how I'm doing it. And just the fact that he did that was like so cool. Like even just like newspapers, like floating across the ground, like just the wind picking up newspapers. Like he'd do a short tutorial on that. So literally like there's so much stuff that people have just uncovered and learned about software like that, that especially when it's free. When it's free, it incentivizes so many more people just to go out there and just teach other people how to do it. Like I feel like when it comes to high paying software, people are less likely to be like, here is all the information I know about it. It's more like, oh, here's my course. I don't think there's been like I haven't really came across any paid courses for Unreal Engine.
I think
literally a boatload is all free.
I think like the guy that I'm following, his YouTube is Unreal Sensei. He's so good, dude. But I think he does have like courses you could pay for, but that's like optional.
Probably.
And even dude, the quality of his tutorials that I'm watching for free are insane. It's like it's definitely better than some of the college courses I've taken. And it's free. You can go look at the video right now.
So who else would you suggest?
So there's Unreal Sensei. I'd have to pull up the names.
Go ahead.
I will. That's good stuff.
But what's really cool is that like there's even tracking stuff that you can do in the game. At like one of my favorite scenes is one of my favorite things that a group did with Unreal Engine is they put a guy on a swivel chair, and they took tracking balls and they put it on a shoulder rig as if it was a camera, but they didn't have a camera on it. They put tracking balls on a shoulder rig, and then they gave the guy VR glasses so he could see what the world was. And he held this shoulder rig and was sat on a swivel chair. And the scene was a spaceship zooming across like a desert landscape with fog.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
I know
and they
exactly
literally
what you're
and he
talking
sits
about.
here with the camera rig.
Yeah, I know
and he
exactly
sits there,
what you're talking about.
and there's like 3 dudes. I think there's like 2 or 3 dudes, and one of them's like hitting his shoulders, and the other one's like rocking his chair,
Yeah.
and the other one's like going this way. Like there's all these
It came out
axes
so
of
good.
motion, and this guy's just sitting there with his camera rig, just like watching. And then he would like look back and forth with the VR glasses, but he would point with the camera rig, and they VR tracked the camera rig into Unreal Engine, and that was the cockpit of the shot for that scene.
I believe that tutorial was done by Megascans.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was either Quixel or Megascans, like get them flip flop. But I know they work really closely together. But I know it's definitely done by them.
But like what I mean, granted, it took quite a bit time to set that rig up and stuff. I granted it's a swivel chair, but it's just the funniest thing is that like you could have a paid animator sitting there and manually making all the little tiny tweaks and motions and like blurs and stuff like that, but instead they just put I just thought it was so funny. And so another group, Corridor Digital, are you familiar with them?
No.
What? You're in film and you're not. Corridor Digital is really cool. They just do a ton of film stuff. And one of the things that they recently did is they actually created a website a little bit ago. And they basically made it crowdfunding where they would just pitch an idea to the world. And then people that were on their website would crowdfund the idea if they liked it. And one of the ideas that came about was, I forget what it was called, but they played a full campaign of D&D. And then what they did is they built a big table full of like their world with all these little figurines and stuff like that, like a typical D&D like table. And they scanned it. Yeah. They took all the cameras and they scanned it. And then now they're shrinking themselves using green screen and putting themselves, they're acting out their entire campaign. What? And they're putting themselves inside their miniatures stuff, which is super funny because it's like a miniature world that's blown up, but they're running around inside of it.
That sounds like the perfect case to use Unreal Engine 5. That sounds like the perfect scenario to use that.
Yeah, because you're making this scan, and then you're just green screening yourself into like this little scan.
And you can set up a world like that with enough level of detail because like there's actual like their mannequin, like their iconic mannequin for Unreal Engine is about 6 feet tall. So you can put it in there and then build an entire world scaled around that mannequin. And if you were to like put someone in there, like if you had like a 4K camera with a green screen, you put that guy in there, it would actually like match up. Like it would look correct.
Yeah.
As far as like spatial size.
Which is crazy. Did you find them?
I did see some. So again, like I'm literally just going on YouTube. I mean, there's Unreal Sensei, there's Smart Poly, Unreal Sensei again, Pink Pocket TV, IGNACEALEYA. I think it's Ignance Elia. There's School of Motion, Devs Lopes. That's a good one too. And then here's literally the one I was talking about with the with like the Nordic cliffs. I'm like, I know what assets they use to make that.
Just drag and drop.
Yeah, dude, there's so many. Those are just like the top like 5 or 6 that I've seen. And I'm like, I haven't gone through all of them. Like I'm still on that first tutorial, like outside of like the ones that are on Unreal's website. And Unreal has like their own place to go and like learn stuff. And I definitely like highly recommend them because it's like a very traditional, it's laid out just like GCU's courses are. Like with this is topic 1, this is topic 2, this is topic 3, and then there's like different assignments in there, and that's following along and building up towards the end of the project. It's very traditional versus like the YouTube tutorials is like it is topic by topic, but you have to kind of like the line between each thing isn't as clear versus like on Unreal's website. It's like this is literally what we're going to learn about. Let's do it. So there's there's learning styles for like there's a tutorial for anyone's learning style is what I'm trying to say.
And I think another daunting thing for people who wouldn't consider doing this is the quality or the build of their computer. And granted, it is a gaming laptop, but you're doing it off of a laptop.
Yeah, my laptop's going on to it's like 5 years old now. So it has like it does have a GTX 1070, but it's like the old laptop version before they like it uses like 80% of like the actual like original desktop card. So it's like more like a GTX 1060 Ti kind of. But even then it has like only 8 gigabytes of of like VRAM or whatever it's called. Um, and I've already like run into issues like where it's like, oh, you're running out of RAM, like there's not enough space, but like you can just dial it back. There's options to like work with your with whatever hardware you have.
Yeah.
You just got to be patient with like the load times, and like if you want to get something loaded and you know something's going to have to be loaded, do it before you go to bed. And then like when you wake up, and it'll be done, you know?
Yeah.
Like just be smart about it. Or like you're going to run some errands today. Let it run in the background and like have a fan on it. Like even my computer's fans don't work. Like they broke after like 2 months of me buying the laptop, and I bought it off eBay because I did not have enough money to build a rig. So I bought this laptop because I knew I was going to travel around a lot, and like didn't have enough money to build like a really comparable like desktop tower. And just like at the time, especially with like what was it, Bitcoin mining was huge at the time when we're like just getting started. So like graphics cards were so expensive, so like getting like used pre-built computers was cheaper than buying and building your own one. So like I got this laptop, and it's like got decent specs on it and stuff, but like even now, like 5 years later, fans never worked. It's running great. Like I'm doing all my stuff on it. And people are like, dude, that's so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I'm using a broken computer to do it too. So,
and so needless to say is it is doable.
Yeah. With anything.
Yeah. Just may not be the greatest of all quality in the history of the world.
Maybe not a Chromebook, but
yeah, no.
It might be possible, but you like to open the software might take 3 days.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is doable. It's not something that you absolutely have to have this massive hulking beast of a computer just to load it up, which I think what it is that it just takes longer time.
Yeah, it just takes more time.
Just takes more time to open. Especially because it's something that builds the world. It's like the tools. It's not necessarily everything that encompasses everything all at once. So it's not like all those tools are running 100%, like 150%, like 100% of the time. Instead, it's just whatever you're using at that immediate moment, and it just may take a little bit longer than you think.
And like this is another thing like between Adobe and Unreal that makes it more fun. As I'm opening up this asset pack that took me like 9 hours to open it. I think it was like 8 hours, 9 hours to open it. Did not expect it to take that long. But when it opened, my computer got an error saying I literally didn't have enough RAM to open up this file. So it said it crashed, and I was like, dang, I gotta start all over. But I opened it, and it still got it done. Like it still worked. It opened up, and it said like, and like Unreal's really smart, and this is why I really enjoy using it, is because it was loading the whole map, and I can like move my camera around and stuff in it, which if you don't have enough RAM to open up the file, it shouldn't work, right? But no, Unreal is really smart. It just unloads some certain textures to compensate for your computer's lack of like power. And it's like, just so you know, 200 megabytes of textures is not being loaded at the maximum quality. And like if you move around, it'll keep trying to load in all those textures, and it does it in a way to like where you'll still be able to move around and like actually use the software and interact, and not be like, oh, now that I don't have software, like I can't interact with it anymore. It's just really intelligent, and it's just like Adobe doesn't do that. It'd be like, oh, you don't have RAM. Sorry, can't use your stuff. Yeah. Nope, you're done.
So it just uses what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like a poly count. So basically like a poly is like a side, like an angle, like two sides coming together. So a cube would have like 6 polys.
Yeah.
But once you get like a face, then you could get like into hundreds, if not thousands, or millions of polys. And so basically like what it would do is it would take that asset, and then it would just flatten some of those polys, some of the angles. It would flatten it and just make it a little bit more geometric.
Or even the ones that you're not looking at. Like let's say you have an asset that's behind the camera that you're not looking at. It'll like, those ones won't be rendered at 100% quality, but the one in front of you will be. And that's what it's talking about, like saving some of that extra space, which I think is incredible. And especially with Unreal Engine 5 specifically, they now have the nanite technology, which is it's like it allows you to have all these like super high quality like meshes and with like super insane high poly counts, and you can render like multiple stacks of them end on end on end, and it looks it's like I can't even describe how they did it. I don't know how they pulled it off, but this is what's gonna immediately push them over their competition is their nanite and their lumen, which is their global illumination techniques that they have. And but like again with nanite specifically, it's just on Unreal Engine 4, you can have like, let's say it had like a million polygons in this like rock or something, or like this like cliff. You put it on the screen and you obviously see your performance like drop because you're trying to render all of it. But in Unreal Engine 5, you could put it on there and your FPS will stay about the same. You might drop like half a frame. And it's the exact same mesh, same amount of polygons, but it's just because of how Nanite is rendering it. And when you're looking at it, it looks exactly the same. But you know what gets like even crazier is you can take that exact same like mesh and you can copy it 1,000 times, all have it all on screen still, and you might drop like 5 frames per second. But if you did like 5 of them on Unreal Engine 4, you would drop like 30, 40 frames. Like Nanite is insane. Like if you don't know what Nanite is, go look it up. I can't even like, I'm not going to do it justice by like telling you about it right here. Go look at it yourself. I'm not lying. They literally did a test where they had there's this like high polygon statue that they had for their like demo reel, and they took it and they copied it like 10 million times and they had it all on screen, and you could still have like, the guy still had like 50, 40 frames per second. And like he was literally like walking around, like, you know, you could click and hit play. Mm-hmm. He clicked and hit play with his guy standing on top of these high polygon meshes, and he was running around on top of them, like just to like try and abuse Nanite as much as possible. And he was still getting like 30 to 40 frames per second. But on Unreal Engine 4, he can only put in like 2,000 of those statues, and he was getting like 19 frames per second.
So this isn't just a step up; it's like
it's an evolution.
Wow,
it's an evolution. It's insane.
So you're starting this, you're getting into it. And I hope to see results.
You will.
And in the meantime, I will try that 5-hour course.
You should. I'll send it to you. So
sweet.
You'd be the second person that's, Hector's actually going to start doing it as well.
Really?
Yeah. Hector's one of our close friends. Yeah. And he was talking to me after class. He's like, dude, you know what? You're so smart for doing the Unreal Engine. That's like the future of filmmaking. And I was like, yeah, this is the best time. Unreal Engine came out like 3 to 4 months ago. Like, and it's still in
the
early.
5th one.
Yeah, the 5th one came out only a few months ago, and it's still in early access. Get on it now. Like, there's no better time. Like,
and it's free.
It's free. And I don't know the specifics of it, but I know you can create and sell content. And I believe it's up to like $3 million in profit. You don't have to give any money to Epic Games up into $3 million profit. I know it's something like insane. But
so what famous games have been made in Unreal Engine?
Ooh, plenty.
Fortnite?
Oh, Fortnite. Yep, that's Fortnite. All the reason why like Epic Games like all this like development and like Unreal Engine,
which is crazy. It's a free software, and they're making like $3 billion off of Fortnite.
Yep, that Fortnite money. I can't say I don't like Fortnite because I wouldn't have Unreal Engine 5. So
you're like, I don't like you, but thank you.
Like all the kids are like Fortnite. I'm like Unreal Engine. I'm like UE5.
You're like, I support Fortnite because it pays for my engine.
It pays for my engine when I wouldn't be able to get it otherwise. So we live in some crazy times, man.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'll send you that tutorial link.
Sweet.
I'll send it to Hector too. So
awesome, and I might link it as well.
Mm-hmm. Unreal Sensei, if you're seeing this, thank you so much. I love your tutorial.
We thank you.
Unreal Sensei.
All right. Yeah. And so you're wanting to do an animation?
Yeah, definitely want to go into like doing very similar to what Dynamo does. Like that's including animation, green screening, storyboarding, story writing, all of that. And if like, Lord willing, like my girlfriend really wants to be able to she like her dream is to be like she wants to be like the horror character in a horror film. And I was like, dude, we should totally collab where I make like a horror environment and you can be like the bad guy. We should totally do something. Cause like that's her dream. But she doesn't like, she's like, there's no way I'll be like a famous actor. I'm
You
like,
don't have to be.
but now you don't have to be. So hopefully.
And then you run a Kickstarter just saying like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then the world is like, oh, that's legit.
Yeah. That's like,
and I'll help you out with that.
that'd be sick, man.
Sweet.
Crazy times, guys.
Crazy times. Well, thank you so much, Wyatt.
Thank you.
Yep. We met like 2 days ago or
Yeah.
like last week.
Yeah, last week. But
We met like for the first time last week. And then I shouted out Dynamo and now
and we connected on Instagram. He literally met me when I was on the way of to getting some pizza. And now here we are getting on this podcast.
Yes, sir. That's how it works.
That's how it goes.
So with that, thank you very much for being on.
Thank you, Christian, for inviting me.
You better start getting to work because I expect results.
They will come. When we're done, I'm going to get that done.
And burnout is a lot more difficult when you're really enjoying the process.
Yes, this is true. Take time for yourself, guys. It's very important.
Very important. So with that, be inspired, have fun, try out Unreal Engine. And in the meantime, I will try it out as well. And then we'll both be back telling you how it goes.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.